Ma'am, step aside. That seat isn't yours. Sir, I paid for this ticket. Please don't argue with the crew. The gate scanner chirped again, sharp, impatient, cutting through the low thunder of rolling suitcases. Overhead lights washed the jet bridge in pale white. Passengers paused, then pretended not to stare. The girl stood alone at the podium. 17, maybe? Neat braids pulled back tight. A thrift store blazer a size too big. She held her boarding pass with both hands like it could slip away if she loosened her grip. The flight attendant didn't look at her face. She looked past it, toward the line. Your ticket doesn't match, the attendant said. We'll sort it out later. Later never comes, the girl thought. She swallowed. My name is on it, she said. Soft. Careful. The attendant exhaled, already tired. Honey, seats don't just make mistakes. A man in first class laughed under his breath. Someone behind the girl muttered. Figures. The jet bridge hummed. The plane waited. The gate agent leaned closer, voice clipped. Miss, I need you to move. You're holding up boarding. The girl didn't move. There was one thing about her that no one noticed yet, the way her thumb kept rubbing the corner of the ticket. Not nervous. Grounded. Like she was counting breaths. Is there a problem? The captain asked, appearing behind the crew. He glanced at the screen, then at her shoes. Yes, the attendant said quickly. She's in the wrong cabin. The girl lifted her chin. I'm not. The captain's eyes flicked to the boarding pass at last. Just a glance. A half second. His smile froze. Sir? The gate agent prompted. The captain looked again. Closer this time. His jaw tightened. Run that name, he said. The scanner beeped. Once. Then again, longer. A red banner flashed. The gate agent frowned and typed faster. What is this? The attendant whispered. The girl's heart pounded, but her voice stayed steady. Please, she said. Just read it. The line grew restless. A baby cried. A man checked his watch and shook his head. The screen refreshed. And suddenly, no one was laughing. The captain straightened. The gate agent's hand stopped moving. The attendant took a step back as if the floor had shifted. Because the name on that screen didn't belong to a mistake. It belonged to someone who could ground the plane, rewrite the rules, and change every face in that jet bridge forever. And here's what most people miss. This wasn't an accident. Enjoying this? Tap subscribe for tomorrow's story. Her name was Alyssa Carter. The captain didn't say it out loud yet. He just kept staring at the screen, then at the girl, then back again, like the order mattered. The jet bridge felt smaller. Quieter. Even the baby stopped crying. Sir? The gate agent said again, softer now. The captain cleared his throat. Give me a moment. Alyssa stood perfectly still. Her shoulders were squared, but inside, everything trembled. She had practiced this walkthrough 100 times in her head. Get to the airport early, keep documents ready, speak calmly. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory, dignity first. Paperwork second. Never raise your voice. The flight attendant recovered first. Captain, we're on a schedule, she said. If there's an issue, we can rebook her. Rebook. That word landed like a stone. Alyssa finally lowered her boarding pass, just enough to meet the woman's eyes. Ma'am, she said, could you tell me what the issue is? 14 words. Careful. Respectful. The attendant hesitated. Your seat assignment conflicts with cabin policy. Which policy? Alyssa asked. That was the first crack. The gate agent glanced at the growing line. Cameras were out now, subtle, chest high. A man in a gray jacket whispered, This is going online. Someone else nodded. The captain leaned closer to the screen again. He read every line this time. Status. Notes. Flags. His face changed, not shocked but cautious. Professional. Alyssa Carter, he said at last. She nodded. Yes, sir. Where are you traveling today? Dallas to Seattle, she replied. Final destination Tacoma. And your age? 17. A murmur rippled through the line. Unaccompanied minor? First class? That explained the looks. The assumptions. The attendant crossed her arms. Captain, minors aren't seated up front. That's not accurate, Alyssa said gently. Not under federal guidelines. The attendant blinked. Excuse me? Alyssa didn't answer. She reached into her tote and pulled out a thin folder, edges worn, tabs neatly labeled. She didn't open it yet. She just held it. The captain noticed. His eyes flicked to the folder, then back to the screen. He exhaled slowly. There's one thing I haven't told you yet, he said to the crew, voice low. The gate agent leaned in. Sir? The captain straightened and turned to Alyssa. Ms. Carter, who booked this ticket? My mother, Alyssa said. Evelyn Carter. That name did something different. The captain's jaw set. The gate agent's eyebrows rose. The attendant looked from one to the other, suddenly unsure. Behind them, the boarding door chimed, a warning tone. Time pressure. Eyes everywhere. If you want the full truth, a woman in line whispered to her husband. Hit like so this story reaches more people. She didn't know why she said it. It just felt true. The captain tapped the screen once more. Ms. Carter, he said. Did your mother advise you to show the documentation only if asked? Alyssa nodded. Yes, sir. Did she say why? Yes, sir. And what did she say? Alyssa took a breath. The hum of the jet bridge filled the space. She said, Alyssa replied, that how you treat me before you read my name matters. Silence. The captain looked at the crew, then at the waiting passengers, then back at Alyssa. This next part changes everything, he said quietly. The captain didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Let's pause boarding, he said. Close the scanner. The gate agent hesitated, then obeyed. The chirping stopped. The red light went dark. That alone felt like a verdict. Alyssa exhaled through her nose, slow and controlled. Her mother had trained her for this too. When power slows down, don't rush to fill the silence. The attendant shifted her weight. Captain, with respect, this is unnecessary. We can handle this off to the side. Alyssa turned slightly, not confrontational, just present. Ma'am, she said, I am already off to the side. A few passengers looked down. One man in first class cleared his throat and stared at the carpet. The captain glanced at the folder again. Ms. Carter, may I see your boarding pass? She handed it over. Their fingers didn't touch. He studied it carefully. Zone. Seat. Cabin. Notes. Then he turned the screen so the gate agent could see. What do you notice? He asked. The gate agent squinted. It's coded. Coded how? Priority override, the agent said. Manual authorization. The attendant's voice sharpened. That doesn't make her eligible for removal? The captain finished. Calm. Exact. No, it doesn't. Alyssa said nothing. She just held the folder against her chest now. The hum of the bridge returned, louder than before. A woman near the back whispered, They're wrong. Someone else murmured agreement. The captain lowered his voice. Ms. Carter, is this your first time flying alone? Yes, sir. And were you advised that this might happen? Alyssa nodded once. Yes, sir. The captain's eyes softened, just a fraction. I'm sorry. That apology landed heavier than anything else so far. The attendant stiffened. Captain, we're still unclear why she's in that seat. Alyssa finally opened the folder. Just the first flap. Inside were documents, neatly stacked, clipped. She didn't pull them out yet. There's one thing I haven't told you yet, she said. Her voice didn't shake. My mother asked me not to. The captain met her eyes. But you're prepared if asked? Yes, sir. The gate agent swallowed. Captain, she said quietly. The system notes, they're restricted. The attendant frowned. Restricted how? Viewable by compliance only. That word, compliance, changed the air. Alyssa closed the folder again. May I ask a question? She said. The captain nodded. Am I being denied boarding? Alyssa asked. Or am I being delayed because I don't look like I belong? No one answered right away. A man near the front said too loud. She paid like everyone else. Another voice followed. Let her sit. Phones were fully out now. Not hidden. Not ashamed. If you believe she deserved justice, comment justice below. The attendant's face flushed. This is getting out of hand. The captain turned to her. No, he said. It's getting documented. He looked back at Alyssa. Ms. Carter, I'm going to ask you one final question. Yes, sir. Did your mother tell you to wait for the name to appear? Alyssa nodded. Yes. Did she say what would happen when it did? Alyssa paused. Just long enough. She said, Alyssa replied, that people would finally listen. The captain straightened. Then, he said, we're listening. The captain turned the monitor slightly, just enough that the crew could see, not the passengers. Compliance note, he said. Read only. Time stamped yesterday. The gate agent leaned closer. Her lips parted as she read. She didn't finish the first line before her posture changed. Oh, she whispered. The attendant noticed. What does it say? The captain didn't answer right away. He looked at Alyssa instead. Ms. Carter, you understand that once this is acknowledged, it can't be undone. Alyssa nodded. Yes, sir. And you're comfortable proceeding here? Publicly? She glanced at the line of passengers. At the phones. At the faces that had laughed, then looked away. Yes, she said. I am. That was the moment the loop closed, and another opened. The captain tapped the screen. Gate agent, please log this interaction as an observed boarding delay. The agent hesitated. Captain, that flags. The entire chain. He finished. Correct. The attendant's voice dropped. Captain, this is excessive. No, he said. This is exact. Alyssa felt her pulse in her ears. Not fear. Anticipation. Her mother had said this part would feel strange. Like standing still while the ground moves. The captain turned slightly so the first row of passengers could hear him. Not loud. Clear. For transparency, he said, we experienced a pause due to a seating challenge. We're addressing it now. A man stood up. She didn't do anything wrong. A woman added. We saw the whole thing. The captain nodded once. Thank you. He turned back to Alyssa. Ms. Carter, I'm going to ask permission to read one line aloud. Yes, sir. The attendant's eyes widened. Captain. One line, he repeated. He read from the screen, word for word. Passenger authorized under Federal Oversight Program. Seat assignment protected. Any denial requires immediate escalation to. He stopped there. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was heavy. The gate agent looked up. That escalation goes beyond us. Yes, the captain said. It does. The attendant swallowed. Why wasn't this flagged earlier? It was, the agent replied quietly. Just not to us. Alyssa finally opened the folder all the way. She slid out a single page. No logos. No seals. Just text and a signature at the bottom. My mother said not to show this unless someone questioned my right to be here, Alyssa said. They did. The captain didn't take the paper. He didn't need to. What's your mother's role? The gate agent asked, careful now. Alyssa folded the paper once and held it. She works in oversight, she said. Transportation compliance. The attendant stiffened. Like auditing? Alyssa met her eyes. Like accountability. Phones tilted higher. Someone whispered. Oh wow. Type yes if you want to see all targets hit at once. The captain took a slow breath. "Ms. Carter," he said, "your mother's name triggered a live review when your boarding was challenged." Alyssa nodded. "She said it would? And this plane," he continued, "is now part of that review." A ripple moved through the line. Not anger. Awareness. The attendant stepped back. "Captain, I followed procedure." "We're about to find out," he said. "Together." He turned to Alyssa. "Ms. Carter, please remain here. You are not being removed." Alyssa's fingers tightened on the folder. Not relief. Readiness. Because here's what most people miss: this wasn't about a seat anymore. It was about a system that had just realized it was being watched. The jet bridge clock ticked past departure time. No alarm sounded. No supervisor rushed in. Instead, something more unsettling happened. The system waited. The captain stepped a few feet away and spoke quietly into his headset. Short phrases. Codes. Names not repeated. When he returned, his expression had shifted again. Not tense. Measured. "Ms. Carter," he said, "a compliance officer is reviewing this in real time." The attendant folded her arms tighter. "So we just stand here?" "For now," the captain replied. "Yes." Alyssa nodded. She adjusted her grip on the folder, then lowered it to her side. Her breathing slowed. This was the moral crossroads her mother warned her about, the moment when pressure invited anger. She didn't take the bait. A man near the front leaned out. "Young lady," he said, "you handled that with class." "Thank you, sir," Alyssa replied. The attendant looked at the captain. "With respect, this feels like entrapment." Alyssa turned, voice steady. "It's only entrapment if someone does something wrong." The words weren't sharp. They were factual. That made them sting. The gate agent's screen pinged. She flinched. "Captain," she said, "I've got an inbound note." "Read it," he said. She scanned it, then looked up. "They want a verbal account. Names. Sequence." The attendant's face strained of color. "Now?" "Yes," the gate agent said. "Now." The captain gestured gently toward Alyssa. "Ms. Carter, would you like to step aside while they document?" Alyssa shook her head. "I'd like to stay. A beat." "That's within your rights," he said. The gate agent began. "Time stamped at 9:14 a.m. Passenger challenged on cabin eligibility." Each sentence landed like a stone dropped into still water. Ripples spread. Passengers listened. Phones stayed up. The attendant interrupted once. "I never said she didn't belong." The gate agent didn't look up. "I'm recording exact language." Silence followed. Alyssa felt something shift, not triumph, not vindication. Clarity. This wasn't about punishment. It was about truth arriving on time. The captain received another message. He read it twice. "Ms. Carter," he said, "there's a question they want answered." "Yes, sir." "Did anyone explain the reason for the delay to you respectfully?" Alyssa didn't answer right away. She looked at the attendant. Not accusing. Just honest. "No," Alyssa said. "Not at first." The gate agent typed. The attendant closed her eyes. The captain nodded. "Thank you." He turned to the line. "We'll resume boarding shortly." A murmur of relief moved through the crowd. But Alyssa knew this wasn't over. Because this next part changes everything. Before boarding resumed, the gate agent's screen flashed again, this time with a request that made her inhale sharply. "Captain," she said, "they're asking for the folder." Alyssa lifted it slightly. "My mother said this might happen." The captain met her eyes. "And what did she tell you to do?" Alyssa's voice was calm. "Certain," she said. Alyssa replied. "To let the truth travel faster than the plane." Share this video so communities understand what was hiding. The folder changed hands without drama. Alyssa didn't clutch it. She didn't hesitate. She placed it gently on the counter, fingers releasing one by one, like she was setting down something fragile, but finished. The gate agent slid it toward herself. Permission to open? She asked. Yes, Alyssa said. Page 2 first. That instruction caught everyone off guard. The agent flipped past the cover. Her eyes moved left to right. Then stopped. She didn't read it aloud. She looked at the captain. The captain stepped closer. He read it too. His shoulders squared, not in authority, but in recognition. Captain? The attendant asked, her voice thin now. The captain didn't answer her. He reached up and turned off his body mic. That was the moment the power flipped. Because whatever was on that page wasn't about Alyssa. It was about them. The gate agent swallowed. This isn't a complaint, she said quietly. It's a placement. Alyssa nodded. Yes, ma'am. A test? The attendant whispered. No, the captain said. An observation. The gate agent kept reading. Her hands trembled just enough to notice. Passenger selected under randomized compliance protocol. She read, unable to stop herself. Subject unaware of exact trigger. Crew behavior documented pre-identification. The attendant took a step back. That's not legal. It is, the captain replied. And it's rare. Alyssa spoke softly. My mother didn't design it. She oversees it. The line behind them was silent now. No whispers. No coughs. Even the hum of the bridge felt distant. The gate agent reached the bottom of the page. A signature sat there. Not a name passengers would recognize, but one crew members would. She looked up. This applies to all carriers. Yes, the captain said. Including ours. The attendant's mouth opened. Closed. So, the attendant said slowly. She was never in the wrong seat. No, the captain replied. She was exactly where she was meant to be. Alyssa felt the weight of it then. Not satisfaction. Responsibility. The gate agent exhaled. They're asking for immediate corrective action. The captain nodded. I'll comply. He turned to Alyssa. Ms. Carter, thank you for your patience. She inclined her head. Thank you for listening. The captain turned back to the attendant. His voice was calm. Professional. We'll debrief after landing, he said. Compliance will follow up. The attendant nodded stiffly. Understood. But here's what most people miss. The observation wasn't finished yet. The gate agent's screen flashed again. One final note appeared. Captain, she said, they want one more thing. What's that? He asked. A statement, she replied. From the passenger. On how this felt. Every phone leaned in. Every eye turned to Alyssa. And Alyssa realized, the real test was never about policy. It was about voice. Alyssa didn't rush to speak. She looked at the faces first, the captain, steady and attentive, the gate agent, pale but focused, the attendant, rigid, eyes fixed somewhere far away. Then she looked past them, at the passengers who had watched her shrink, then stand. This statement, Alyssa said, is it for the record? Yes, the captain replied. Verbatim. She nodded once. When I was told to step aside, Alyssa began. No one asked my name. No one checked my ticket closely. The decision was already made. The gate agent typed as she spoke. The keys sounded loud. I was spoken to as if I had done something wrong. Alyssa continued. I was told seats don't make mistakes. A soft murmur moved through the line. I didn't argue, she said. Because arguing doesn't change how people see you. Paper does. The attendant shifted. The words weren't cruel. That made them harder to escape. Alyssa took a breath. What this felt like, she said, was being invisible until I became inconvenient. Silence again. Heavy. Honest. The captain nodded slowly. Thank you, he said. The gate agent finished typing. Statement recorded. The captain tapped his headset once more. Compliance, he said quietly. Statement delivered. A pause. Then a reply only he could hear. He turned back to the crew. "Boarding will resume," he announced. "Ms. Carter will be escorted to her seat." The attendant stiffened. "Captain." He met her eyes. "This is not a discussion." Alyssa gathered her folder. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She simply stepped forward. As she passed the first row, a woman reached out and touched her arm, gentle, asking permission. "You did good," the woman whispered. Alyssa nodded. "Thank you." She reached her seat at the front cabin. The overhead light was already on. Her name glowed on the screen above the aisle. Carter, eh? Not hidden. Not questioned. As Alyssa settled in, the captain paused nearby. "Ms. Carter," he said low, "your mother was right." Alyssa looked up. "About what?" "That how we treated you before we knew your name mattered most." The captain moved on. But the story didn't end when the plane took off. Because policies don't change in the air. They change after landing. And waiting on the ground, unseen by the passengers, was a process already in motion. The plane landed in Seattle under a gray, patient sky. Most passengers gathered their things and left the aircraft carrying only fragments of what they had witnessed: an uncomfortable moment, a brave girl, a quiet correction. For them, the story ended at the jet bridge. For Alyssa Carter, it had just entered its loudest chapter. She remained seated until the aisle cleared, just as her mother had taught her. Last off. Always last. That way, the truth had room to catch up. The captain waited near the door. So did a woman in a navy blazer with a badge clipped to her lapel. Not airline staff. Oversight. "Ms. Carter," the woman said gently. "I'm Dana Whitmore. Thank you for your patience." Alyssa stood. "Yes, ma'am." They didn't shake hands. They didn't need to. Inside a quiet conference room near the gate, the air felt different. No hum, no hurry. Just facts. The flight attendant sat at the table, hands folded tight. The gate agent sat beside her, eyes down. The captain stood, arms relaxed but face serious. Dana Whitmore opened a thin laptop. "This isn't disciplinary," she said. "It's corrective." The attendant let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. "We reviewed the footage," Dana continued. "Audio. System logs. Timestamps." She looked at Alyssa. "You were never out of compliance." Alyssa nodded. She had known that. Knowing and hearing were different things. Dana turned to the attendant. "You relied on assumption instead of verification." The attendant swallowed. "I followed habit." Dana's tone stayed even. "Habits create systems. Systems create outcomes." No one argued. "The outcome," Dana said, "was harm." The room was quiet. "There will be retraining," Dana continued. "Immediate. Not punitive. Required." The attendant nodded slowly. "Understood." The captain spoke then. "I take responsibility for the delay." Dana met his eyes. "And you took responsibility for stopping it." That mattered. Alyssa sat straight, hands folded in her lap. She wasn't asked to speak again. She didn't need to. Because the documentation spoke for her now. Outside that room, internal notices were already moving, updated prompts, revised boarding checks, mandatory name-first verification. Small changes. Real ones. Before leaving, Dana turned back to Alyssa. "Your statement will be used in training." Alyssa paused. "Will it help?" Dana smiled faintly. "It already has." The attendant stood as Alyssa passed. Not defensive. Not proud. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "I should have listened sooner." Alyssa nodded once. "Thank you for saying that." Not forgiveness. Not refusal. Just truth meeting truth. As Alyssa walked toward the exit, her phone buzzed. One message. From her mother. "Proud of you. Come home safe." The system had responded. But the human part, the hardest part, was still unfolding. Alyssa stepped into the arrivals hall with her backpacks slung over one shoulder. The crowd moved fast, families reuniting, business travelers scanning phones, voices overlapping in a dozen directions. No one recognized her here. And for the first time that day, that felt like relief. She found a quiet bench near the windows and sat. Outside, rain misted the tarmac. Planes came and went, each one carrying stories that would never be told. Her phone buzzed again. "Mom, did you eat?" Alyssa smiled despite herself. Alyssa, yes. Pretzels. Mom, good. I'll see you at home. Home. Tacoma. The small blue house with the creaky step and the wind chimes that never stayed quiet. Alyssa pictured it clearly. Anchoring. A few minutes later, the captain approached. He changed out of his uniform jacket. Without it, he looked lighter. "Miss Carter," he said, keeping a respectful distance. "May I sit?" She nodded. "Yes, sir." He sat, hands resting on his knees. "I've been flying for 26 years," he said. "I've seen systems fail in big ways. This one failed small. Quiet. That's harder to catch." Alyssa listened. "You helped us catch it," he continued. "Not by pushing. By standing." Alyssa considered that. "My mother says systems don't change because people shout. They change because people document." The captain smiled. "Your mother sounds wise." "She is," Alyssa said. "But she also said something else." "What's that?" "That dignity is what you keep when no one's watching." The captain nodded slowly. "I'll remember that." He stood. "Safe travels home, Miss Carter." "You too, sir." As he walked away, Alyssa felt the last of the tension leave her shoulders. Not victory. Closure. At baggage claim, a woman from the flight approached hesitantly. Mid-50s. Kind eyes. "I just wanted to say," the woman began. "My granddaughter's flying alone next year. I hope she carries herself the way you did." Alyssa met her gaze. "I hope she never has to." They shared a small, knowing smile. Outside, Alyssa's mother waited by the curb. Evelyn Carter looked exactly as Alyssa remembered. Calm posture, sensible coat, eyes that missed nothing. They hugged. Not tight. Solid. "You okay?" Evelyn asked. "Yes," Alyssa said. "I did what you said." Evelyn nodded. "And how did it feel?" Alyssa thought for a moment. "Like finishing a sentence." They drove home through wet streets and soft evening light. Behind them, reports were being filed. Training modules updated. Language revised. But ahead of them was dinner. Homework. Normal. And sometimes, normal is the real win. 3 months later, the airport felt different. Not louder. Not softer. Just steadier. Alyssa Carter stood in the same terminal again, this time with a rolling suitcase and a college hoodie zipped to her chin. Early fall light slanted through the windows. The air smelled like coffee and rain. She watched the boarding process from a distance. Names first. Then seats. She noticed it because she knew what to look for now, the small changes that didn't announce themselves. The pause before a judgment. The extra glance at a screen. The way a gate agent asked, "Can I see your pass?" instead of saying, "You need to step aside." Progress rarely claps for itself. Alyssa's phone buzzed. A message from her mother. They rolled out the new training nationwide today. Alyssa typed back. Good. That was enough. At the podium, a nervous boy, maybe 16, hesitated when the scanner beeped. He looked around, eyes wide. The gate agent smiled gently. "No problem," she said. "Let's take a look together." Together. The word mattered. Alyssa felt a quiet warmth settle in her chest. Not pride. Recognition. Her boarding group was called. She stepped forward, placed her pass on the scanner. The screen lit up green. "Welcome," the gate agent said, meeting her eyes. "Have a great flight, Ms. Carter." Alyssa nodded. "Thank you." As she walked down the jet bridge, she thought about that day months ago, the laughter, the pause, the name appearing on the screen. The name hadn't changed. The system had. She reached her seat, stowed her bag, and sat. As the plane pushed back, Alyssa rested her hand on the armrest and looked out the window. The engines hummed. Steady. Certain. If this shocked you, comment dignity below. And in the quiet space between ground and sky, Alyssa allowed herself a small smile. Because dignity, once documented, travels far. Yendi, thanks for watching.